All right, so with the discussion, let me just kind of recap. It's been a long time, a lot of things have been said. This is a very simple bill. Phoenix passed a civil rights law which greatly expanded the protections given to the transgender community, and they went far beyond what many jurisdictions which have such civil rights laws have done. And this bill will simply pull it back a little bit, but only in the areas of personal spaces, which would be showers, dressing rooms, and bathrooms, and only with respect to the transgender. Doesn't affect transgendered rights with respect to employment, going into going into restaurants or housing. This bill is very focused to just these private public accommodations, which again are baths, showers, dressing rooms, and bathrooms. And we are not creating a law. We are not making it a crime. That's gone. We're simply saying the government has no business getting involved in this area, and no business will be criminally prosecuted if they decide to have a men's shower, women's shower, locker room, or what have you. There will be no crime, there will be no civil liability. We're basically restoring the state to what it pretty much was before these ordinances were passed, and the way most of the country is. And the store owners can work it out as they always have done. Any other discussion? Representative Gentry.
I was just going to note that I find it a little bit curious that the city of Phoenix didn't register in support or against and hasn't taken a position. If they felt that passionately about it, I think you would have seen them here talking about the need for it, or perhaps talking about their experience with why they did the ordinance in the first place.
Yeah, I have noticed that. But.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case, Secretary, please call the roll.
No, honey.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have to. Okay, all right, members. Okay, all those in favor of the two-page Kavanaugh amendment say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes appear to have it so ordered. The bill is amended.
Mr. Chairman, I move that Senate Bill 1045 as amended receive a due pass recommendation.
Okay, call the vote.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, you may.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to explain my vote.
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I first want to express my respect and gratitude to all the people who have shown up here this evening, and particularly note your courage to come out and be public with what is very private decision and concern. You know, if this passes, Mr. Chairman, members, I don't know what these folks are going to do. I mean, what are they supposed to do? Where do you go to the bathroom? Can't use the men's bathroom, can't use the women's bathroom, and if you go in the bushes, you're for sure going to be getting a criminal charge against you. So, you know, I mean, that's one of the most basic functions that any of us could imagine. And so I'm very unhappy and disturbed, particularly at a human level, but I'm also concerned that we are not letting the city of Phoenix do what they choose to do. You know, we've talked about, I've been around here a long time, and we talk about home rule and local control, and, you know, that's just out the window on this one. And so, you know, I am voting no, a very strong no, but I would, you know, further like to say thank you for all of you who have been here all day. Thank you for all of you who didn't sleep well last night and won't tonight either. And I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. And your courage is just remarkable. Thank you. Maybe it'll fail on the floor. I vote no, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Boyer?
Aye.
Mr. Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Faris?
Aye.
Mr. Gray?
Aye.
Mr. Twasman?
Aye.
Ms. Moss?
Mr. Chair?
Right.
Thank you. Again, I want to reiterate what Ms. Austin said to you all. Thank you all for standing and sitting here for hours. Thank you for powerfully and articulately and intelligently explaining your situation and what you all have to do on a daily basis just to avoid unsafe situations. And I want to reiterate some of what has been said tonight because I think it deserves it for my explanation of my vote. Honestly, I just can't believe that we're empowering individuals and businesses to openly discriminate against people, and without the victims having any recourse. I can't believe we're taking away power from cities. I believe in local control. They should be able to enforce the ordinances that they have decided as a community that they want to have. This doesn't address any concern of safety of individuals. The laws are already on the books for voyeurism, sexual harassment, all of the concerns that have been stated as a problem for this. There are health concerns involved that have been stated here before, and frankly, I think this is an embarrassment to our state. So, with that, I again thank you, and I vote no.
Mr. Sherwood?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, you may.
to everyone who waited tonight, thank you very much for your patience. I know it was a long wait. And I want you to know that, speaking for myself, I would be happy to spend all night in this room chatting with you all. So, this is important to me. I want to get it right. When I first read this bill, I asked myself, what is the virtue of this bill? I cannot find the incidents, the injustices with which this bill seeks to correct. As mentioned earlier, there are already laws in the book to protect our citizens from these threats within society. Hundreds of you. You called me, you emailed me, you wrote letters, and you came down here today, you signed in, you waited, you testified. I have received your message, I've heard your voice, and your testimonies now have been entered into the record, so that will continue on. You've expressed concerns about fear, safety, health, economic impact, sinister motivations, and legal actions. All of these are logical arguments from rational thinkers using parallel reasoning, statistics, and personal stories, all valid. I look forward to a day when we write a bill, when we have 2 rooms full of support, and media that comes here to cover and make that the story about a bill that's that fantastic. Because what I see here is citizens urging a citizen legislature to oppose a piece of legislation. We heard a bill earlier where I said, I wish we were spending our efforts working more on students and school safety, and I wonder if we put this amount of effort into something else, what other solutions and choices we could have found for an issue that's so much more pressing than this right here. Good policy is not high risk, low reward, which this bill is. The proposed striker to Senate Bill 1045 is a solution in search of a problem. There's over 160 cities and towns across the country that prohibit discrimination based on gender identity or expression. Other cities in Arizona have ordinances like the one in the city of Phoenix, which just passed. They haven't resulted in people inappropriately using restrooms, putting public safety at risk, or raising privacy concerns. Arizona already has criminal laws in place to deal with any perpetrator who would do such a thing. And so, Mr. Chairman, fellow members, I vote no.
Mrs. Ugenti? Aye. Mr. Olson?
Aye.
Mr. Campbell?
Mr. Chair, if I may explain my vote.
You may.
Thank you. I want to start by thanking everybody who's here and took the time to come down here and testify and spend your day and your night with us. And my colleagues know that I don't have a problem voicing my opinion, and probably many of you witnessed that earlier, and I haven't said much throughout this debate because, honestly, I didn't know what to say about this bill when I first saw it because I didn't understand or even comprehend why we're even debating this bill. So it was hard for me to put together a logical argument against this bill, to be quite honest with you. And honestly, the testimony was given today and tonight. There's nothing I could have said that would have done any better job than conveying why this bill is such a horrible idea. You've all shown time and time again why this is a horrible idea, and as my colleague just pointed out, is really a solution without a problem. But I was troubled by testimony by an individual who's supporting this bill, and I don't want to single that person out, but there's one person here, so I have to. And I think he asked the question, when does it stop? Where do we stop? And the answer is we stop and everybody has equal rights. That question is something I couldn't even comprehend. What if we would have asked that when we were debating women's suffrage, the Civil Rights Act, the American Disabilities Act, which I want to point out, businesses across the country came out against the American Disabilities Act because it's going to be a burden on their businesses, because it was going to be unfair to small businesses. And my wife is a small business owner, and I can tell you, she has no problem making sure that her business is open to anybody and everybody that wants to come and spend money in her business. So where do we stop? We don't stop until everybody has justice. I mean, that's the bottom line, and fairness across the board. And if we start legislating on what makes people comfortable versus uncomfortable, which I've heard some comments today, that I'm uncomfortable with these types of situations, well, that's a horrible road to start going down. I'm uncomfortable with many things. I'm a Diamondbacks fan. I'm uncomfortable with Dodgers fans, to be quite honest with you. I'm not going to discriminate against them. But in all seriousness, if we start basing decisions in terms of how we make laws on our own comfort level, we are in serious, serious trouble. And it's something that I'm having a hard time getting my head around right now. And so, my colleague just pointed out that there's over 160 cities that have done this. It's not, City of Phoenix was, I mean, no offense against City of Phoenix, but they weren't a trailblazer in this. They were a little behind the times, if you ask me. I mean, Tucson, Flagstaff, other cities have done this, and the City of Phoenix was just catching up, and I applaud them for doing so, but this is not new, and I'm kind of offended that every city hasn't adopted this, to be quite honest with you. So, I sit here again tonight, and it's been a long day, but I sit here tonight trying to figure out what this means in the greater scheme of things, and the answers that are coming into my head are disturbing me. If we're going to allow businesses to start to dictate who can come into public spaces, private spaces, whatever, based on their own discriminatory beliefs or prejudices or level of comfort, then we are taking this state farther backwards than we've already been taking the state. And we got to stop this. So I concur with my colleague, Representative Alston, in hopes that this will die on the floor. But if it doesn't, I think that this will end up in the same place that many bills end up that come out of this body, which is in court. Because I believe this is unconstitutional. I believe this is an infringement upon the rights of the people. And I believe that we have spent a lot of time and money on an issue that doesn't even have any merit in discussing. And again, I applaud you all for being down here. And with that, I vote no.
Yes, thank you. Just a couple of quick comments. My bill is not about civil rights. My bill is about
Come on.
we've had a pretty respectful communications event this evening, and let's not ruin it at the end. This bill is not about civil rights. This bill is about civility. Our society has mores and customs, and frankly, there are men's rooms, there are women's rooms. But more importantly, there are men's showers and women's showers and men's changing rooms and women's changing rooms. And to suggest that a business is violating somebody's civil rights, especially in the areas of baths, showers, and dressing rooms, by creating an environment where a woman and a young girl are not exposed to somebody who, in their mind is female, but is biologically male and is undressed, that's not right. And I think everybody on both sides of the issue needs to understand that that's just going too far. And that's what the Phoenix Ordinance did. And it also went too far in criminalizing and exposing to civil liability a business that would dare have a men's restroom, women's restroom, or shower or changing room, and to enforce that, to make them criminals and to have them subject to civil liability. It's simply wrong. You can go too far. And the one thing we all agree on is that there are like 160 cities that have these types of ordinances. But you know what? Many of them don't go so far as to go into private places and do this type of regulation, and especially criminalization. And this stuff does occur. I have here an ABC News release about a situation in Washington where a transgendered biological male is using the women's locker room in a college where not only are there female college students, but female high school students and female elementary students who belong to a swim team. So it doesn't.
Ira.
So you do have these awkward situations, which some people in the room admit are awkward situations, which others claim shouldn't be awkward at all. But our society overall thinks that they're awkward and it's inappropriate. And for that reason, I vote yes. Members, by your vote of 7 ayes, 4 nays, 0 present, 0 absent, you have passed Senate Bill 1045 as amended.
And Jim Crow is alive and well.